Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Daniel, let me know when you're ready to go.
Ready to go.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Milpitas Economic Development and Trade Commission. Today is Monday, November 8th, 2021. The time is now 4:30 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote because we are in virtual meeting. Rachel, could you assist, please? Or Nicole, could you assist, please?
Okay. Meeting called to order. Typically, we don't do roll call for calling the meeting to order.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's great.
I think we go to Pledge of Allegiance next.
Right. So let's go to Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, the next item on the agenda would be to approve last meeting's meeting minutes.
I think we're roll call first.
Roll call.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Roll call now.
Roll call and seeing alternatives. Man, I was way out. Okay, roll call.
Okay.
Nicole,
Thank you. Starting with yourself, Chair Chris Norwood,
here.
Vice Chair Casey McNeil,
Here.
Commissioner Inderjit Mundra,
Here.
Commissioner Lynn Rice. I believe Commissioner Rice is absent today. Commissioner Prakash Daryani.
Yeah.
Going on to alternate Commissioner Deepak Awasthi
Here.
and alternate Commissioner Juliet Gomez, who is absent today. And I'd just like to note that Director Alex Andrade will not be joining us this evening, so our Economic Development Coordinator, Daniel Degu, will be taking his place. And to add to that, alternate Commissioner Deepak Aswathi will be seated in place of the vacant and unfilled real estate seat.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm sorry. So there's another, we do have more absentees in our
Correct.
commissioners. Who are absent?
I have marked absent alternate Commissioner Juliet Gomez, Commissioner Lynn Rice, and Commissioner Marshall Jones.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we have done this, and I believe Nicole just took care of the seating of the alternatives or the alternates.
That's right.
Right. So at this time, we need an approval of the agenda for November 8th, 2021.
I moved the.
Go ahead.
Right. I second it.
Yeah, we had Deepak move and we have Rakesh second. This is a roll call.
Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Daryani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Awasthi.
Yes.
Awesome. Now at this time, we need a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 11th on 2021. Be advised if you are not in attention, you should abstain.
So moved.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second.
Yes.
The roll call.
Starting with Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Daryani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Awasthi.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. Oral public comments may be made live during the commission meeting by first registering with the Zoom meeting in advance and providing an email address not disclosed and a name. Are there any public comments?
One moment, let me check for raised hands. No public comments at this time, Chair Norwood.
There are no public comments.
I'll put the agenda back up. Okay.
Awesome. Since there are no public comments, we are now on to announcements, and we'll first start with the EDTC commissioners.
I can maybe give a small update on the
Thank you, Indrajit.
Milpitas Chamber. The chamber is actively busy arranging several events, and we're in the process of trying to figure out some dates. And as soon as we can put dates on them, we'll be informing everybody. One is the crab feed, probably sometime in March. And the virtual job fairs are in process. We're setting up the technology. And we're probably looking at a cultural fair sometime soon, and another cultural event, possibly this month, with the Native Americans.
Thank you, Indrajit. Thank you, Indrajit.
Thank you.
Commissioner Aswasi?
No, I have no.
Okay. Commissioner Dariani?
I don't have anything to add today.
Commissioner McNeil?
Yeah, I just want to say kudos to our economic development coordinator, Daniel DeGue, and Alex Andrade for the great article that was in the Mercury News, I guess about a week ago, regarding the Milpitas Metro Plan and the Innovation District. I thought it was a good write-up, and so just good job, guys.
Did they send that link out to everyone?
I saw it somewhere.
We can thank you for that, Vice Chair and Chair, to your question. We can most certainly send that out after the meeting to the commissioners, so that way everyone can see the article that was in the Mercury News.
So that's no. Basically, we're just kind of here for them to kind of visit every once in a while, and they could just forget all about us when they do great stuff. I see. Wait till I talk to Alex. Wait, no, that's all three of you. You too, Nicole, you're in on that one too. Don't forget about us, the little people.
We won't.
Okay, City Council, I don't have anything. Oh, we have Jack Emery Drive starting for the high school.
I'm actually here.
Oh, no, I was going to do the EDC commissioners, and then I was going to go to City Council liaison.
Okay, I thought you said city council member and disregard it, so thank you, Chair.
No. Yeah, we have the Jack Emery Drive starting, which is an annual campaign where the school district, all the schools raise funds and cans for homeless, Milpitas Food Pantry, and other nonprofits organizations supporting people that are in Milpitas. The first meeting for the school and the school sites is this Wednesday, and they'll be sharing it out to the community soon enough. Without anything else said by the commissioner, I'd like to turn it over to City Council liaison.
Thank you very much. This is Councilmember Karina Dominguez. Thank you so much for all of your guys' help and support. I've been a little under the weather, but I definitely wanted to share that there's been great strides with the work that all of you guys have been doing. We've been together now for 3 years, and so I just want to say thank you all so very, very much from the bottom of my heart. We have literally turned around the economic development strategy plans. We have been able to adopt them. We have been able to implement ideas and move that needle forward, which is something that we all said we wanted to do together in the beginning. We've made sure that women are empowered and that they are at the table and that they're seen, reflected, and heard. I am extremely excited about 2022. There's going to be a lot of movement, a lot going on, but I definitely wanted to share that. Please continue this amazing work that you guys are doing. There is going, I definitely invite you to stay alert on ARPA funding. There's a lot of conversations going on with ARPA funding right now. My main goal with ARPA is to try to maximize it with our small business communities, making sure that our business communities and that we are integrating, ensuring that new skill set is being placed into our communities for folks who are looking for jobs that they have, that they're ready. And so thank you, Chamber. We have been working together. I am incredibly amazed at the work that you guys do every single day. And to staff, I cannot tell you how grateful I am for all of you. You have really rocked it out of this park, and you are a small and mighty team. And regardless of what happens in the next upcoming months, just know that just keep forward, keep that vision alive. You have done an amazing foundation from when we first started. So as you could tell, I'm a little overwhelmed. I actually was doing a lot of notes of what we accomplished, and I'm at 6 pages, and so I don't know. And that's like condensed version of goals that we all had. So wow, we have done so much. And Chair, thank you so much for your leadership, and commissioners, again, just thank you. But please continue to stay involved in those council meetings, because big decisions are going to be taking place, I think, in the next 2 to 3 months. So thank you very much. With that, I'll give it back to the chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Dominguez. At this point, I'd like to turn it back over to the Economic Development lead today, Daniel DeGoo, for city staff.
Thank you, Chair Norwood, and thank you for those remarks, Councilmember Dominguez. We have all been working very collaboratively together, and we're all doing great work, so we appreciate that. Good afternoon, everyone. Daniel DeGoo, Economic Development Coordinator. It's my pleasure to be here virtually today on November 8th. We do have 2 announcements. Our first announcement has to do with the fiscal benefits of employment land study. This project went before the City Council on October 12th. City staff and our consultant, Economic and Planning Systems, presented the findings from Phase 1 and previewed the progress on Phase 2. The Phase 2 findings is tentatively scheduled to be completed in the first quarter of 2022. And the project team anticipates returning to the Economic Development and Trade Commission in the second quarter of 2022 to report on the Phase 2 findings. Our second update has to do with the COVID-19 Workforce Recovery Program. And as the councilmember mentioned, the Workforce Development Program related to ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act. These 2 projects went before the City Council on November 2nd. City Council received and accepted a report on the COVID-19 Workforce Recovery Program, approved the Phase 2 recommendation to implement the Milpitas My Plan Career Accelerator Program, and provided direction to staff on potential workforce development programs and initiatives funded through ARPA. Both the COVID-19 Workforce Recovery Program and the ARPA Workforce Development will return to the Economic Development and Trade Commission in the first quarter of 2022. With that, that is city staff updates for the commission.
Thank you, Daniel. Moving on to item 9, business items. 9A, Economic Development and Trade Commission draft work plan fiscal year 2021-2022.
And I'll take this chair. I'm going to have Nicole pull up the commission draft work plan. Thank you, Nicole. Okay. So you'll notice on your screen the updated draft work plan for the commission. The text colored in red represents your feedback at last month's meeting. Your additions included updates to the following topic areas and overall goals. And that's the first column on your left if you're looking at the screen. And those changes, those updates were related to the economic development strategy, the ARPA economic vitality framework, workforce development and education, international trade and commerce. And Nicole, if you can scroll down to the second page. And then there was also some edits to the Manufacturing Day 2021. So at the last month's meeting, the commission recommended that the city council consider and approve the draft work plan with the proposed amendments shown on the screen. We ask that the commission consider and approve the updated work plan before you at today's meeting. With your approval today, the city staff will present the updated draft work plan to the city council in December for the council's consideration and approval. So with that, if the screen before you, if you see with the red text, if the commission believes these are the correct edits and updates based on the feedback that was provided last month, we can move forward with approving this work plan. Any clarification from staff, we're also here to answer any of those questions as well.
And these were the edits that we discussed last meeting during the meeting.
That is correct, Vice Chair.
Are there any questions? Well, how would you like to go through the document?
We can certainly do that. Should we start at the top?
Yeah, Daniel, if you don't mind walking us through, that would be helpful.
Absolutely. So with the economic development strategy, the specific update that was added based on the feedback at last month's meeting had to do with commissioners volunteering as ambassadors to assist in formal and informal business outreach, particularly along Main Street. So that is something we've integrated into the work plan based on feedback.
Mhm.
As it relates to the ARPA economic vitality framework, there was a comment about EDC commissioners being able to provide expertise and feedback on hospitality and workforce development matters. We do have several commissioners with the EDTC that have expertise in this area that can provide valuable assistance and support to staff on this effort. And then also volunteering as ambassadors may help with business outreach as well, especially as we look to get more on the ground with outreach to our businesses as we get closer and closer to improving with the pandemic. As it relates to the workforce development and education section, the addition of EDTC commissioners may help facilitate opportunities with MUSD, Milpitas Unified School District, as well as engage with Milpitas high school students and leverage networks at San Jose State University, San Jose City College, Evergreen Valley College, as well as NextFlex, which is a nonprofit manufacturing institute in the local Bay Area that we've partnered with in the past as it relates to enrichment for Milpitas Unified School District students as it relates to manufacturing, advanced manufacturing. And then if we scroll down to the international trade and commerce, we do have several of you who are also expertise in this field. We also have a specific individual who also works within this area of international trade and commerce. So providing expertise and feedback on the draft international trade and commerce work effort, which we'll get an update on today from our economic development specialist, Nicole Inamine, and then help facilitate trade events, including hosting dignitaries, trade missions, and attending trade shows as an example. And then the last piece here has to do with Manufacturing Day 2021, which is continuing to partner with the Office of Economic Development to support Manufacturing Day 2022 by participating as program speakers, event promotion, and marketing, leveraging networks and/or providing feedback. And over this last several years, we've evolved with this effort as it relates to Manufacturing Day and just really continue to enhance on that as well.
Thank you.
I think there's a question by our council member, Dominguez.
Thank you very much. Could you go back to that educational one, please? The workforce development and education. So one of the things I know that in the past, other commissions have had issues with is commissioners doing their own thing. So I just want to be very cognizant that it needs to be very clear that all of the work needs to be led by staff. Because the last thing that I would want is commissioners doing their own thing and bypassing staff and council, because it's happened in other commissions and that was an issue. So when I read EDTC commissioners may help facilitate opportunities with MUSD, I just want to make sure that that is something that's being led by staff and not commissioners because of some of the challenges that other commissions have had. And I actually said we didn't have that issue in my commission, so I don't want to open a can of worms and have that come back. Yeah, especially when I hear the word ambassadors. It has been a big headache in other commissions where business cards are being made, ambassadors are going out, they're doing their own thing. The chair and the liaison are left out of the loop, and it does become an issue. So I just want to make sure that there's going to be a mainstream directed by staff as we move forward with this workforce. So maybe if we could add those words into this, that would make me feel a whole lot more comfortable. Because again, I just don't, we've had these issues in other commissions, and I just want to make sure that that's crystal clear when it moves to the council, because I could already hear some council members saying, hold on. The other one is the economic development strategy, particularly among Main Street. Again, I think if you add the word staff, council, when it reaches council, and I'm just trying to provide feedback based on some of the council discussions that we have had, so it could pass. I don't want this getting pushed back. So if we could maybe just add some words in there that is directed by staff or somewhere along there, I think that would make me feel a whole lot more comfortable. And not to say that, commissioners, that I don't trust you at all. It has nothing to do with it. It's just, again, some of the issues that we have had in other commissions. And I just don't want this plan to be bounced back because I could already see some council members having some issues maybe with some of the wording.
Well, I will start out by responding saying, you're not here to trust me. We're all here to do a great job. And I agree with you 100% that there should be language that talks about the protocol of how this happens, because no ADTC member should be doing their own thing in that way. I don't know if there's language like that exists because things have been discovered in other commissions, or if the things that we're considering here should even be viable based on the feedback that you just provided.
Thank you very much, Chair. And again, I'm going to kindly disagree with you. I want to trust you. I believe in team. And as a team, I do believe you do need to trust each other. So I'm going to kindly not agree with your statements because I do think that as a team, I am here to trust you. And I want to be able, I think we have an amazing team. And to answer your questions, I'm not too sure what other commissions are doing, but I would like this commission to maybe just add some language that says led by staff or along those lines. I think that would make me feel a whole lot more comfortable with this work plan moving forward to the council.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Mundra.
I'd just like to repeat all that almost from a different facet. This is a marketing effort when you do outreach, and it really requires language, as you all mentioned, and there should be somebody central to organize this effort because the language at that point is very, very critical.
Agreed.
Otherwise, we would appear to be, very, it would make Milpitas almost look like in total disarray.
Agreed. Thanks, Commissioner Mundra. Are there any other commissioners that want to add comments?
And if I may add, Chair, we are making updates as we're receiving feedback from the council member and also from the commissioners. So
Okay.
just to sure we're updating as we get information
Okay.
during this item.
Awesome.
Highlighted any recent changes made right now in yellow. So please let me know if that looks acceptable to everybody.
Acceptable. I see it as acceptable.
Yeah, no, I think this is great. The other thing that maybe I could kindly suggest as I'm looking at the work plan, staff, could you maybe update us on, I know a couple months back we passed as a council, we gave a directive to try to recruit a high school student on each commission so we wouldn't miss the youth voice. I don't know where that's at, but maybe, I don't know if there's, because they don't have a voting power, I don't know if there's somewhere maybe we could add something along for that particular member to maybe be part of, like, as we think of the workforce development and that educational piece with MUSD and the high school, maybe just giving them a role. I could see that as an opportunity and maybe adding that into the work plan. But again, of course, I want to make sure that seat is also being worked for to fill it. So I'm not too sure where we stand. Again, I don't need an answer, but just kind of thinking as I'm going through the work plan, just making sure that we don't miss that element out as we move forward into next year.
Thank you.
But other than that, I really like it. I think this looks great. I can't wait. I think you guys all have great talents and strengths, and this is going to be awesome. Very excited. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Yes, we can most certainly start to build that in as we bring someone on to serve on that role.
Thank you. At this point, I guess we are going to make a motion to receive the report or the.
Yeah, motion to receive the report as amended.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Sorry, could whoever seconded repeat themselves? Who was that?
Just to, before the motion is finalized, it's to provide a recommendation, just to provide a recommendation to the city council to consider and approve the draft fiscal year 2021, 2022 Economic Development and Trade Commission work plan.
All right, with the amendments. That's what Commissioner Casey said.
Correct.
And we
By the way, do we do public comment first before we go to the vote?
Thank you, Vice Chair. I was just going to say there are no raised hands for public comment for this item.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So we have no public comments. We have a motion with the amendments. We have a second.
And who is the second, by the way?
I did.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right, and I will call the roll, starting with Chair Norwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes.
Commissioner Dariani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Owasti.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. On time check, we are 55, 58, and we should have been done 4:45. Okay, we're okay. 9B, International Trade and Commerce Program Update. Nicole in a minute.
Thank you, Chair Norwood. Let me stop sharing and pull up my PowerPoint presentation in a moment.
I think Council Member Dominguez, your hand is still raised.
Thank you so much. I accidentally hit it. I appreciate the note.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, just getting situated here. You should be able to see my slides. Is that correct?
You can you go to full screen? Please.
Oh, it should be on full screen.
We still see your, or at least I do, I still see your notes on the left. So I don't see it since
Oh,
slideshow mode.
okay, one moment. How's that?
Still the same.
Okay, I'm clicking on the oh, how about now?
Now, that's good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. Sorry for the technical delay there. Good evening, Economic Development and Trade Commissioners. My name is Nikki Inamine, Economic Development Specialist, and I would like to provide a brief update on our International Trade and Commerce Program. Just as a, oh, will it go forward? There we go. Okay. Starting with some background, in April of 2018, the City Council approved to merge the Economic Development Commission and the Sister Cities Commission, which resulted in what we have today, the Economic Development and Trade Commission. Vice Chair McNeil is our Technology and Trade representative. And from the Sister Cities Commission, we have Commissioner Awasti joining us as the Sister Cities representative as well. And then leading up to February 2020, we temporarily had, as you all remember, Margaret Tamizia, our special projects associate, and she had started developing a trade program and had developed several key relationships with folks, including Mission College, Joe Hedges at the San Jose Office of Economic Development, who administers the Foreign Trade Zone, the Governor's Office of International Trade and International Affairs and Trade, as well as the federal U.S. Department of Commerce. A trade progress report was presented to the Council in February of 2020 with every intention of launching right afterwards, but of course, the pandemic made our office pivot to more pressing priorities at the time. It's also worth noting that in May 2020, just a few months after, the Economic Development Strategy was approved by the Council, and in our strategy, we have Implementation Action 19.4, which calls to develop and implement an international trade program. And now we're over a year and a half since the beginning of the pandemic, and we've now returned our attention to this program with a roadmap for how the next 2+ years will look like for the International Trade and Commerce Program. So what we'd like to achieve through this program is one, build value for our local Milpitas employers in international markets. We want to make them more competitive, both at home and abroad. We'd like to develop trade, commerce, B2B, and workforce development opportunities. And this can be through various ways, like working with companies to utilize a foreign trade zone, implementing a strong outreach or marketing campaign to inform businesses of available resources to get involved in trade, and helping them participate in trade missions and trade events like that. And lastly, we'd like to retain existing jobs in Milpitas and, of course, create new job opportunities as well. When companies expand into global markets, it can help diversify their revenue streams and thus make them a lot more resilient to economic downturn. So that's another reason why we'd like to strengthen our international trade activity in Milpitas. And the next slide here, what does international trade look like? I'd like to call on a few folks, just if someone can share what international trade means to them or how they've seen it implemented in Milpitas or other cities. Any volunteers? Yes, Commissioner Mundra.
It's a great question, and let me see. So international trade has been shaped a couple of times in recent history. One of it was that intellectual property was the key, and that made things come into existence to understand how to control and implement methods to essentially utilize intellectual property appropriately. The financial models, that is. Okay? And then all of a sudden we have an occurrence of lawyers come into existence that understand treaties and international law and in many facets of that that affected intellectual property around the world. And the other probably bigger and hidden transition was that in the last probably about 20, 30 years, we have transitioned to where
I'm sorry, Commissioner Mundra, I can't hear you as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And so from, like intellectual property issues, we've transitioned to where the last many years, the biggest market evolving is actually services. And that's going to grow yet some more. So two other things. One is we've seen the pandemic being is not a local occurrence anymore. It's a worldwide occurrence. And then we've seen shipping affect just about every country and every product. Okay?
Right.
And that comes from the root of it is that when we do just-in-time manufacturing, and then you break a link, it's going to cause a financial something to happen. And so moving forward, what does our, kind of a business model look like? It's certainly not local, but internationally, what does our model look like that we can address and that we can make our local workforce more talented in those respects?
And that's a great point, Commissioner Mundra. Just kind of like to complement what he's saying. What I've seen in international trade is that when I was in the tech sector, we had an international trade agreement. We were doing trade with a company, a bank in Finland or a university in Finland, where the trade was that the students would get internships in the U.S. And those internships were for technology companies. So we would pay the university, and the university would give us access to the interns to come to the U.S. to work for a year and a half at a time. So that was an example of international trade that I'm familiar with.
I think the basic
That's
premise
an impact.
may I add something to that?
Yes, please.
The basic premise of international trade is you're selling goods and services that generate the economic development in the countries. So we have to start with that. I think IP and intellectual properties and education, they also play an important role. But the basic premise of international trade is goods and services. I have a gizmo that I want to sell it to another country has got a gizmo, they want to sell it to us, or the services that we need to offer. And in the transaction, we are helping developing the GDP of the countries. So that's the basic premise of that. On top of that, if you talk about intellectual property, yes, when it comes to software and other intellectual properties, yes, those things that come in. But still, the basic premise of international trade is goods and services that drive the international trade.
You cleaned that up. Thank you, Commissioner Dariani. You cleaned that up. You put a bow on that quite nicely for that particular discussion. So we'll turn it back over to Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for those that shared. All of you are exactly right. Oh, there you go. Hold on. Thank you. Like Commissioner Dariani had just pointed out, it could absolutely be gizmos. It could be the movement of gizmos from
Correct.
one port to another via plane, truck, cargo ship. So there is a huge aspect of logistics, like Commissioner Mundra had pointed out as well. I think nowadays, perhaps we're seeing more smaller and medium enterprises get involved in trade. What I hear often is if a small business has a website, just by virtue of having that website, that can kind of rocket them into the realm of international trade. They become a global business by virtue of having that website accessible to other overseas folks, customers. And like Commissioner Dariani had just said, and Chair Norwood as well, it could also be the export of services. It's not just sending gizmos to overseas countries, it's also exporting your services. I think one example I heard recently was if your company specializes in tourism, and let's say you're focused on getting foreigners to come visit the United States as tourists, then you're in the business of international trade, and you're exporting US tourism as a service. And lastly, I just want to point out that in Milpitas, with such a thriving advanced tech and manufacturing sector here, it makes sense to help these companies take advantage of all of the resources available to them. And so now we go into how our program, our International Trade and Commerce program, is structured. So in phase one focuses on strengthening relationships with key trade partners at the regional and state levels. That can include the Silicon Valley office of the US Department of Commerce, Mission College. They have a small business institute that we recently partnered with. I mentioned Joe Hedges earlier. He administers the Foreign Trade Zone. A foreign trade zone is a designated location in the US where companies can use special customs procedures that benefits them with duty exemptions, duty deferrals, logistical benefits. And so Joe Hedges is a great resource to get companies involved in the FTZ. In this phase, our office will reach out to other jurisdictions to learn about how they're facilitating or incentivizing trade activity in their cities. In this phase, we also want to begin identifying Milpitas businesses who can benefit from this program. So who's already participating in trade and export, who's ready to do so, or maybe they have no idea how to get started and we can help fill that knowledge gap in getting them started. And going off of that, this phase will also include administering a needs assessment survey to our businesses. And we'd like to incorporate a strategy to raise awareness about the program to local business communities. So I think that will look like a strong marketing campaign. And we actually have already started that last part of raising awareness in our local community when we partnered with Mission College by holding 4 webinars over the course of several months with Mission College staff and also our trade expert, Dr. Rod Shea, and he helped cover topics like international logistics and international market research. As far as timeline goes, I see phase 1 taking about a year. We have already started dipping our toes into doing this work, and I anticipate that a year from now in fall 2022, that is when we'll be ready to come back and share a bit of a progress report on how phase 1 has looked like. And then going into phase 2, of 2 phases. Phase 2 aims to effectively facilitate international trade and foreign investment activity. And how we do that is by leveraging everything that we've gathered and learned, all the relationships we've developed during phase 1. So this phase will actively provide one-on-one business support to anyone who expresses interest in engaging in trade and connecting them to the appropriate resources. We also want to be coordinating events, be it trade missions, reverse trade missions, perhaps industry trade shows and events like that. And also in phase 2, we hope to achieve several outcomes, some of which are listed on the screen here. There may be an opportunity to establish a Bay Area or a South Bay Trade Consortium. Members can range from local economic development staff, mission or staff from local colleges and universities. They can also be anyone who facilitates industry advocacy like SEMI, who is also in our backyard. And we'd like to see an increase in businesses participating in trade events and export activity as well. And so this phase 2, we aim to have that jumpstart around the time phase 1 wraps up in fall of next year. And we would like to accomplish what you see on the screen in the year following, but also phase 2 is going to be more of an ongoing effort to continue providing one-on-one assistance to businesses, continue strengthening those relationships, attending trade events, and so forth.
Nicole, I have a question for you.
Sure.
On the third bullet, you're listing foreign trade zone.
Yes.
Generally, foreign trade zone has a specific definition worldwide. When you set up the foreign trade zone in any country, whether it's United States or China or India, it is well-defined parameter, and there are some economic incentives that are provided to the people who operate in the foreign trade zone. Are you referring to that the city of Milpitas is going to create a foreign trade zone where there'll be some economic incentives to the companies who operate in the foreign trade zone? Could you clarify that, please?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that question, Commissioner. So I'm thinking when I say increasing activity in or business participation in the foreign trade zone, it's really working with Joe Hedges. Milpitas is part of foreign trade zone number 18.
Okay.
I believe it covers Santa Clara County and a little bit of Santa Cruz as well. So Joe Hedges is the FTZ administrator. So I'd like to foment that relationship and have more businesses take advantage of those benefits.
Thank you.
Well, if I can add to that response for the commissioner. So as Nicole mentioned, yes, the foreign trade zone 18 is the foreign trade zone that's for the city of for the geographical area of Milpitas. And as you mentioned, Commissioner, yes, there is a tremendous benefit for our businesses to be a part of the foreign trade zone. What that essentially allows for businesses is they are exempt from tariffs and taxes. And so anytime they're sending product to a foreign trade zone, another country that has a relationship with their company, they won't have to pay any of those taxes, and it saves them millions and millions of dollars, because many of our local businesses here that are in the advanced manufacturing space, for example, are doing a lot of business overseas, Mexico, China. I mean, we can go on in different countries. So a lot of times they're not aware of this foreign trade zone. There is a very robust process to be approved that requires some collaboration with the city of San Jose on the federal level. But the benefit is the businesses save a lot of money, and at the same time then allows them to expand and do more business locally, which benefits the city, the community, the residents. It's a really great ecosystem in that situation. So we've had some conversations in the past with businesses about this foreign trade zone number 18. And we recognize through phase 2 and really with phase 1 that there's going to be a great benefit to continue to move this effort forward for our business community.
Thank you for the clarification. That's what the answer I was looking for, that Milpitas is part of the foreign trade zone because it does have some economic incentives if you operate with foreign trade. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Nicole. You answered my question.
Thank you very much. I have a quick question.
Yes.
Is it just for people who are manufacturing or who are doing trading or distribution also?
Oh, certainly not limited to only manufacturing and technology companies. Anyone who exports their professional services, or I think anyone really in that supply chain logistics market as well. I think there is some benefit to be had in having a conversation on how we can help connect you to more resources or maximize what resources that maybe you haven't been maximizing.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Okay, with that, I'd like to move on to the next slide. And that is how the commissioners can get involved in helping to implement and grow this program. So I'd love to hear kind of what we're doing here. I'd love to hear your expertise and feedback on the program. For example, 2 Mondays ago, Commissioner Dariani was kind enough to give me an hour of his time to walk me through his experiences in international trade as an engineer and consultancy. And that was incredibly helpful, very informative, and I very much welcome the opportunity to do that with any other commissioners as well. I'd love to have this be, or I'd love to have more trade events, seeing more trade missions, attending trade shows and such. If the commissioners are interested in helping with that effort, I think that would be very interesting. I think, again, promoting the foreign trade zone, either via marketing, spreading the word by mouth, or however you think would be best in doing so. I definitely welcome your input. And lastly, helping cultivate relationships with local businesses who have a global presence in trade, commerce, business to business, and workforce development efforts. And this is our last slide here. I welcome any additional questions. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking, and I don't know if this happened historically, but it seems like the Trade Commission piece should potentially be a subcommittee, because it's big enough to be. It was actually its own thing at one point, but then now it's under economic development and economic development. And the plan that you have over the work here looks like it may be viable for us to consider a subcommittee, if anyone would be interested in that.
I'll be happy to assist in any form or shape, as I told Nicole, that this is one of the areas that is been near and dear to my heart, and I'll be happy to volunteer and help facilitate in the Trade Commission and share my knowledge and experience that we had in the last 30 years, so that city can benefit from it.
Thank you. Are there any other, it would be great if we had at least 2.
Yeah. Yes, so I think I am the commissioner who's this is their specialty. So absolutely, I will.
Great.
Oh man, I got 2. I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. Wait a minute. Can I get one more? Is there one more in there, or an alternate that wants to jump into meetings every once in a while?
Yeah, I could do that.
All right, we got it. Woohoo!
Mhm.
Man, Nicole, you owe me. Okay, but anyway, so let's step back. So Nicole, Daniel, so you just saw me kind of make that up ad hoc. You're going to make sure I do the things right procedurally.
Right. So yeah, to that point, Chair, what we would need to do is bring this to one of the future meetings where we get it agendized as part of the recommendation.
Okay.
And so we can come back at a future meeting with this subcommittee officially established for the commission.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
And a follow-up question to that, for Daniel, does that mean the scope of work of this subcommittee that's to be determined and presented at the next or at a future agenda?
Right. So for the item tonight, the EDTC recommendation is to receive staff update. And then in the minutes, we would just make a reference to there's interest from the commission, and you'll name the 3 commissioners that are interested in serving as a subcommittee for the international trade program. And then we'll come back.
Okay.
Agendize that and then make that happen through a future meeting.
Thank you.
So one thing we can do, Commissioner McNeil, we can have kind of preliminary discussion to define what should be the scope, what should be the parameters where we can add value, and pass on that information to our, members as well as the city council.
Absolutely, I agree with them.
So
that definitely circles back to what Councilmember Dominguez said, is that, I know you guys have some great ideas, but it's got to be as directed by staff.
correct.
Because they may have some things that they're already in process. We want to make sure we align with that as closely as possible, especially out of the gate.
Correct.
So thank you for that.
And then if any member wants to come and participate in this, I was thinking about initially having some brainstorming sessions to see what could realistically be accomplished, and then bring in all the other members. So we will not be doing in a vacuum, just to make sure that everybody's on board.
No, completely understand. And
Yeah.
I trust Nicole to handle the process. So
Sure.
so at this point, we will take a motion to receive the report.
I think we
Yes,
still
please.
need a public comment.
Oh,
Thank you for that.
yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay. No raised hands for public
Thank you,
comment.
Casey. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate that.
I know.
At this point, we do need the motion.
I make a motion.
All right, we have the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And
Yeah,
for the record, the
motion.
motion is to receive staff update.
Yes.
Correct.
That is what the motion is, to receive staff update.
Thank
and it
you.
has been seconded. And now it's on Nicole. Yes, I vote yes to receive the staff update.
Thank you, Chair Norwood. Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
Yes,
Commissioner Dariani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Awasti.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me switch over to the agenda.
As I think about this, the things that we have on the work plan strategy for EDC are almost like are almost like subcommittees. We didn't call them out as that because we were just looking at what was in the economic plan or the work plan for the commission that we established earlier. But it really looks like those might evolve into subcommittees at some point. I think we haven't jumped the gun, but I'm just saying the model from the Trade Commission may be our model for subcommittees for other things that come out of that work strategy.
That's absolutely right, Chair. Many of you have specific expertise as commissioners and just in your professional setting as business individuals. So I think your comment is absolutely correct.
That's great. So all the commissioners have something to look forward to as we evolve this. And one of the things that and I won't get too far ahead, so we'll bring that back when we have the subcommittee discussion. We'll deal with that at that time. So we received the staff update. The item 10, adjournment. The next meeting is Monday, January 10th at 2022 at 4:30 p.m.
Oh, we finished early today.
That's
May I
great.
have a motion and a second, please, to adjourn the meeting?
I was going to do that, Nicole.
Oh, sorry, Chair.
Finished. Wow. Anxious? You were anxious? Wow. Okay.
Great job,
Hey,
Nicole.
is there a
Great
motion?
job, Nicole.
Is there a motion?
Keep him on his toes.
Let's get that motion going. Nicole's trying to get us out of here.
IT, can we edit that part out?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I second it.
We have a motion to a second. I agree.
Thank you, Chair Norwood. Vice Chair McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Mundra,
yes.
Commissioner Dariani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Awasti.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank
Everybody.
you.
Great meeting.
I'm telling
Good
you.
job, everybody.
All
All right, council.
I'm telling out.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
All right, take
Good
care.
evening.
Bye.
Everyone.